Greetings, this is Ras Tafari. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Tafari said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shamai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. I is Rasabat hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon when I come together. Look how we live together, Look how we work together, Oh, Babylon don't when Rasta come together. Haile, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men blessed. Yeah man, hailing from St. Croix, Rastafari, hail you.
Aye.
Empress Manel, Alliance, you're universally unfold, be told, Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use yet an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Oh, yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story. from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people that the life. Lion voice.
Well, great is the Almighty, and greatly to be praised in the city of Haile, Selassie the First, the mountain of His holiness.
Yeah, from Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, you know, the whole entire continent.
Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion, from Accra to Addis Ababa.
Yes, it's beautiful continent, better control, mama.
Very beautiful.
From Cape to Cairo, from Timbuktu to the Nile, I smile for Mama.
I hear you call Mama Africa. Been so long since I see Mama. Father of Africa set the law. The lion come and dismantle Babylon flaw. We gonna use solar energy, use sanitation to build the ecology. We utilizing green technology. We hailing Haile Selassie first without apology. And then we build the youth them economy. We dismantle Babylon monopoly. We teach the youth them how to live properly. Tell them make sure them got the title for them property.
Yes, this beautiful continent, better control.
iRoots Records, an online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Rastafari books. Rastafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from frontline publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. Special invite for the Lion Pride. Use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Voice Live. Welcome to the Lion Voice Network and welcome to Lion Voice Live, where the lions are telling our own story. Today, this morning, this afternoon, we have a mightyful panel to bring to the IDEM Continental Rastafari on the panel this morning to talk about African liberation. You know, if we're talking about African liberation, it's important that we just don't talk to I and I in the live diaspora, which they would call a diaspora. But it's important that we don't just talk to ones born outside of the continent, that we talk to I and I brethren and sisters born and raised on the continent. And the Lion Voice Network is a global platform. So, you know, we have to talk to our brethren who are born, raised, grow, work on the continent. And so that's what we're doing today. before I bring forward the panel, let me just big up our sponsors, iRoots Records. Make sure that you support our sponsors. Rastafari own record label. We should be buying our music from ourselves. So, and they also are a distributor for Frontline Books, another one of our sponsors. So you can see what we're doing here. We're building out the ecosystem, and big up all of the businesses. We just brought on a new sponsor for the next 2 months that we'll have, and we're very proud of that. We are welcoming the Conscious Reggae Concert. Big up Ija Noah. The Abyssinians will be headlining the Conscious Reggae Concert in Jamaica. They will be coming on board, so you'll be seeing a lot more promotion for the Conscious Reggae Concert here on the Lion Voice Network. We want all of our people to start to spend money with this platform and advertise. And in return, we're asking the Lion Voice Network family, the Lion Pride, to spend money. We have every mickle make a muckle philosophy, a 1-1 cocoa full basket livity here. So we're asking the item to spend money with our sponsors, so it makes sense for them to continue to spend money with us. And this is how we create that loop, that economic loop. And this is how we grow, so that we can have budget and staff. You know that those are my two favorite words right now in the Armageddon. We need to build institutions that have a budget and that can hire staff. So that is what we're doing right now, is building out that economic part of the liberation. And we're going to talk about that, because we want to know from these brethren, what are the economic opportunities in their countries, so that we can start to invest in our brethren and sistren. However, I couldn't do this alone. You know what I mean? I had to call upon a royal co-host. You know what I mean? A sistren I've known probably going on over 2 decades now in the Armageddon. And I want to just first introduce my royal co-host, Empress Queen Mother Moses. Royal blessings to my co-host. Welcome.
Wow.
Queen
It's
Moses,
such
can you
a
hear
good.
I?
I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, now we hear you.
All right. I can hear you
Okay,
clearly.
beautiful. So
Yes, greetings
introduce
to my
yourself to
family.
those who may not know the I. Yes, to those who may not know the royal Empress Queen Mother Moses, please introduce thyself.
Well, I'm going to start with, I am celebrating 7 decades of activism. I am Dr. Marcia Olive Stewart, who, giving thanks to our ancient, many of whom are now ancestors, declared me Queen Mother of the Ark, the Almighty Rastafari Kingdom. And that happened through Ark Local Atlanta Rastafari Community. And Ghana, the land of my heritage as an Ashanti, gave me first the Empress title to the Queen Mother, and then Empress Queen Mother. At this time, I am the only declared Empress Queen Mother. I work with all royal houses, because the Ark is also A, Africa, R, royal, K, kingdoms, because Africa is not a continent of states. Africa is a continent of royal kingdom, indigenous people. And I am blessed to claim Azania, now called South Africa, as my land of repatriation. Over 2 decades, there I am, Palesa, the beautiful flower. So I do give thanks. The full title is Naama Dede Aiti, the first Empress Queen Mother Moses Palesa, the beautiful flower of Azania, born in the island of Jamaica. It is a pleasure to be here on the Lion's Voice and to be with my brothers from the continent, knowing that I and I are not Africans because of where I and I are born, but because of the African blood that runs through I and I vein. Give thanks, blessed love, solution time, unity, the acceptable solution.
Blessings, blessings. I love it. I love it. So I know we're having some difficulties with the Wi-Fi. I see some of our panelists going in and out. I see them, so we may not be able to get all of them on camera, but we're going to do our best. We're breaking boundaries. So I want the item. Well, Lion Pride, you know, we're patient. We're working through the technology. This has never been done to bring people together over land and sea like we do over here on the Lion Voice Network. So we give thanks for your patience. I'm going to bring forward our representative from Sierra Leone, Ras Culture. I'm going to bring forward our representative from Botswana, Ras Moagisi. Alibaba was here from Guinea. He's in and out. Our other representatives are trying their best to log in. So Queen Mother Moses selected these brethren to represent. So I'm going to ask the eye before we introduce the brethren them. Why did you select these particular brethren for this panel, Queen Mother Moses?
Well, Brother Culture, Sierra Leone, you know, this is the Lion's Voice. And Sierra Leone is the mountain lion. It's the mountain lion that claimed its African children before anyone else did. I and I of the maroon, they accepted I and I, gave I and I our rightful genetic and indigenous identity as Africans. And because Ethiopia is the only African country never colonized, it was really a pleasure and an honor to be working with Ras Culture, our young adult leader who sees the vision and knows that the only organization created by Emperor Haile Selassie is the Ethiopian World Federation, because I and I are Ethiopians born on different parts of the 6 region of Africa: East, West, North, South, Central, and what I call Fiancra, because when I and I ancestors were leaving, goodbyes could not be said. That is one of the reasons for Sierra Leone. Guinea is New Guinea. It's the time you over. Guinea is ready. And language, we have to cut across the language that the colonizers use, you know, to divide I and I. So I and I cannot communicate with each other. What it didn't stop the language barrier from I and I. Still, our brothers over there choosing South Africa. For Botswana, that brother, Mwagisi, Mogalakwe, we call him Munya. That brother stepped up as the founding Alpha president of Empress of Zion. Not only did he balance the collective of sisters with a man, a lion, but he put himself up and say, sisters, my brothers have not been treating you all right. Take it out on me. Yes, he did. And he was young, an undergraduate, who now heads the faculty of the administration for the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Botswana. Yes, South Africa. I'm not sure if Umzwakwe Segudla is on yet. Umzwaki means owner of the home. He was a young teenager in a Soweto using rocks to fight apartheid. He became the founding president of the Southern African Youth Movement, SAYM, say movement. He will share how I and I met, but he invited me to be the founding Queen Mother of the Southern African Youth Movement. I say movement, for capacitating youths and their families. And that's what the Southern African Youth Movement has put on the map. And as solution, he has shown what can happen when indigenous Africans work with their brothers and sisters who are born outside the continent with African blood running through I and I vein. I thank him for being there for me as an indigenous African, even when the Rastafari in South Africa rejected me and called me foreigner. And that brings us to today. Go ahead, the Jasmine Kwasi.
So I'm gonna ask Ras Culture to unmute and to just, you heard the introduction, but introduce yourself. We're gonna ask all the panelists to just introduce themselves and give us a little history about their region.
Okay. Greetings. I am Ambassador Muhammad Lyrics Bangura, popularly known as Ras Culture. I am the Secretary General for the Rastafari Council of Sierra Leone. I am the founding president and the first president of the Ethiopia World Federation, local chapter 150. And as well, I am the project coordinator for one of the Pan-African radio stations in Sierra Leone called Radio Culture. I'm also an environmentalist, a community advocate, an entertainer, a musician, and as well, general, I am the voice for now for the Rastafari community in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone is located in the West Africa. It's one of the most peaceful countries in West Africa. We have suffered 11 years war. And then the war ended in 2002. And from then, Sierra Leone is relatively peaceful. And it's one of the beautiful countries which you can do or you can invest. It's one of the countries you need to decide to repatriate because we have what it takes. It's a peaceful country. We have beautiful beaches. We have places. We have good atmosphere, good environment. That is all I can say for Sierra Leone. But we move on the discussion, I will tell you more why Sierra Leone is one of the best, as you heard from Queen Mother Moses. We are the Lion Mountain. We are the mother for Africa. So give thanks.
Yes, give thanks for that. I'm going to go to my brother from South Africa, Mwakezi. You have to help me with the pronunciation, my brother. I've been in the West for too long. Please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your background. You have to unmute.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Depending where you are in the region, if it's good morning to you. My name is Mzwake Sigudla. I act as the Executive Director of the Southern African Youth Movement. a Pan-Africanist community development organization based in South Africa, which we known historically or ideologically as Azania. The movement is a movement that has been doing quite a lot of work in South Africa, in the SADC region, which is the 14 countries in Southern Africa and the continent in general. We've also been working tirelessly in the advocacy, in the Pan-Africanist advocacy of participation of African in diaspora, which what we define as a sixth region of the continent. We played a very pivotal role in the development of what we call the Constitutive Act of the African Union, which is the constitution of African governments, replacing what we used to have as an organization of African unity to what we have today as the African Union. We also pioneered what we call the civil society organ that completes the integration of the Pan-Africanist agenda of civil society organizations in the decision-making process of the African Union, which what we call the Economic, Social, Cultural Council of the African Union, in which we played a very pivotal role in ensuring that we have that organ. The organ is there. It's currently actively recruiting membership. Those who are not familiar with the ECOSOC must just follow the link with the ECOSOC. Currently, they are looking for membership subscriptions to members, which include the ones in diaspora, so that as we debate Africa's development, and we can also relate a bit in terms of, really affiliating to that institution. Among others, we've done quite a lot of work in the community development space. And then we have worked with Queen Mother Moses for many decades, and he has really contributed immensely in making sure that there is communities in various developed communities, not only in South Africa but in the SADC region. We met with Queen Mother Moses when South Africa was celebrating 10 years of independence from apartheid in the house of the then President Thabo Mbeki. Then she has since really contributed a lot, and we have worked very well with the Rastafarian community in South Africa and in the continent at large. So we are quite, happy to be part of this panel and part of this conversation in terms of what we can do to take the continent forward. So we are happy to be part of this panel. Thank you.
Give thanks.
May I just add one thing, my host, the Jasmine Kwasi, Umzwaki Segudla was the youngest ever head of the African Union ECOSOC. Youngest ever. It's not easy.
Okay. How big is the South African youth movement, my brother? How large, if you can estimate for us, just to give our audience some scale?
Well, the organization is it's an organization that has got it's basically 22 years of existence, and it's quite a very big organization to a point that it has touched life of over 500,000 people. And it also worked basically in the last 20 years, if I were to quantify it in terms of monetary value, so that you can then appreciate the size of the organization. It's basically an organization that could closely be over $1 billion in over 22 years.
Wow.
In the programs that we're running, we've been hiring almost about 200,000 people that are working across what we call the community works program in the South African government. So basically, we've been working with the South African government in terms of creating job opportunities, mainly for poor people. And then we've rolled out quite a number of programs in the process. We've worked with also quite a number of partners all over the world, including the EU, including the United Nations systems and all that in the past years. Obviously, we are now changing our approach as an organization. We're now looking at not because in the past our focus has been advocacy in terms of policy and so on. And part of the things that we've succeeded, for instance, in the African continent, is the creation of the what you call the African Charter, which is the protocol that the AU has agreed. We have pioneered that policy instrument, which has entered into force in the African continent. So we are now looking at what are the community development projects that we can do that changes life. So basically, trying to put food on the table to vulnerable communities. That's precisely what we are currently be looking at. So we're in a transitional phase where we are looking at now interventions that are creating direct job opportunities for people, and then we are trying to look at using these examples that we have in South Africa to be implemented across various countries in the African continent. There are those that we've already approached in terms of how we can look at that and so on and so on. One of them is the Libya. We are at current discussion with the ambassador and so on to look at what role we can play in terms of peace building in Libya. And then we also participate in what you call the Afro-Arab Council, which is the bridge between the Africans and the Arab in the African space. So that's what we are doing currently. Thank you.
Okay, give thanks. And it's always important, even though we are primarily a Rastafari platform, we are Pan-African, and I'm very clear about that. So we always want to have those Pan-African voices. So on behalf of our global Rastafari family, I want to welcome my brother, and know that we stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters across the continent. We are not isolationists as Rastafari. You know, we are here to add our flavor to the tapestry of Africa, not to isolate ourselves and create an independent Rastafari nation. That's not the goal. The goal is one Africa, and we are so honored to have the eye here on the panel and the powerful work that you're doing. Next, we're going to move to Nigeria, the African giant, and a brethren who is no stranger to this platform. This is his third appearance. Yes, his third appearance on the Lion Voice Network. The Honorable Mike Palm. Please unmute, introduce yourself to the family.
Blessed love Kings, and blessed love Empress Queen Mother Moses, yes. Your Highness. Respect large, everybody. Love and light from here, the ancient city of Benin, where I am currently, you know, doing a documentary on the ancient Benin kingdom, the artifacts and the British incursion of 1889 that actually toppled the kingdom. So I'm currently here working on that. This is Nigeria, and we're good to go. Blessed love, my king, Kwasi Rastafari.
Yes, I.
Of course, as part of his introduction, my beloved host, he is the spokesperson for the RCC, the Rastafari Continental Council, and I am the deputy spokesperson. So we have gender balance, and we have the African-born at home and the African-born abroad, you know, with that voice of balance, because that's what we don't have no borders. Yes. We have no borders as Africans. Africa for the Africans, those born at home on the continent, and those born in the 6 regions. Born
abroad in the 6 regions.
I feel like I want some diamonds right now. So can we go to Botswana? Can we go down to Botswana and our brother in Botswana. Please unmute and introduce thyself, King.
Greetings, family. So, I mean, I've been introduced, Mama Moses, blessed love, honorable Queen Mother.
Pick up in. Can you adjust your camera? Can you adjust your camera so we can see your full face? Where the top of your head, we're not seeing the top. Okay, there we go.
The crown, yeah?
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Is this good?
Yes, I.
All right. Give thanks. So, I was just, passing greetings to the hosts, Queen Mother, the Jazz Match, Kwasi.
Yes,
give thanks. As I said to the eye when I was talking to the eye the other time, that, we shared space when I was out in DC one time. I don't know, Queen Mother, you remember that time we was in Washington, DC?
Right, and Mama Faraika, yes.
Mama Faraika in the building, that time. So, and I know when I was walking into the venue, when we was doing that event, I was coming right behind the eye. But yeah, he probably wouldn't remember, but yeah, I was trying to just say to the eye that we've walked same path, literally.
Yeah.
But I also salute brothers from across the continent, Mzwaki from down in South Africa, Honorable out in Benin, Ras culture, and I seen that the eye Alibaba came in. So Munya is my name. That's the name most of family know me by. But yeah, my birth name is Muachisi Mogalakwe. And I am an activist from since I was a teenager. Mother Moses said it, when I was in high school, that's when it all started. Or maybe it started before, but I only realized when I was in high school. And back then, I worked with an elder brethren of mine on a community education project where we was establishing a school, was founded on a poetry academy named after one of our very own African pioneer, born out, in Uncle Sam's Gates out there, called Langston Hughes. So we had an academy called Langston Hughes Poetry Academy that had tons and spaces of branches of sections in the arts, because that's where I grew up in, the arts, and went to university, studied humanities, English and history, and trained as a teacher. So I'm a teacher by training. So that's where ultimately, I fall as an educator. And it's through these spaces that I've been privileged and honored to share space with the Right Honorables, Bingishon, I guess, Mama Moses, that's how it came about. My work with Empress of Zion from when I was a youth, before I became elder youth. So, the educator in me has remained constant, because now I work for the University of Botswana, still in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences as an administrator there. But my work as a teacher continues on the side still. So I'm a community member. Just the other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, I had about a 15-minute meeting with Elder Jabulani, also known as Trevor Hall, and our brother called Samuki Cunningham, about a work that is similar to this. So, Brother Kwasi, I must share that I took the opportunity to share with the Idrin that we will be on this platform reasoning on the same conversation about repatriation, reparations, and restoration. These are some of the things that the brethren want to put put together a symposium. Lucky, we may be coming a backyard in your backyard because we want to do this through the University of Witwatersrand out in Johannesburg. So look out for that with Elder Jabu and the brethren and the sister working on this. But long and short, this is the eye. It's an honor to be on the Lion's Voice. Blessed love.
Thanks. We're honored to have the eye with us, and we're gonna get to know each other a lot better. And we're gonna ask this conversation or conversation is about the practical steps to African liberation. We are watching the collapse of the global order. The Bretton Woods system that emerged after World War II is collapsing around us. A lot of people are calling for the recolonization of Africa, or another scramble of Africa is underway to resource this third world war that is unfolding. And in all of these discussions globally, there are no African voices. Even when we look at BRICS, yes, South Africa is the S in BRICS, but when we see the power players of BRICS, we see, President Modi, we see President Putin, President Xi of China, this trinity, and now Iran. We don't really see the African voice as one of the decision-making voices. So we as Africans now have to decide, what does our future look like? And I think these forums are so critical to that, as Rastafari, who has been at the forefront of promoting One Africa. I think that we have a role to play in terms of ensuring that the culture of this One Africa is instilled. So we're going to talk about economic, educational, and spiritual liberation today. And I want the eye to talk about the educational aspect. I'm going to move to Ras Alibaba. He's having some difficulties coming in straight from Conakry. As soon as his line clears up, we're going to bring him in. Again, this is unprecedented. Ras Alibaba, please introduce yourself while we have you. I see you're having some difficulties. Please introduce yourself. Can you hear Ras Alibaba? Ras Alibaba. Greetings, Ras Alibaba. Can you hear? Comment ça va? Mon frère. Mon frère. Ras Alibaba, we're having some connection issue with Conakry. Ras Alibaba, please, can you introduce yourself? I think I think it's frozen. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna come forward to Ras Alibaba. We're having, and this is another big issue to our liberation. Let's see if it refreshes. This is one of the big issues, is technology. Right now, if we talk about Starlink and these things, it's not African owned. We need our own technology interface. So what I'm going to do is we're going to ask a series of questions around liberation. But before I do that, Queen Mother Moses, do you have anything that you want to share before we get into the veggies of the matter?
I just want to further highlight the role of Morgisi, Munya. It is Munya as the founding alpha president of Empress of Zion, who brought into being South Africa, that we got EOZAC, Empress of Zion, Azania Collective. And Empress of Zion, Azania Collective became one of the organizations of the Southern African Youth Movement. And that is a big connection, because Umzwaki Sigudla, he is a genius, and he ensured that our founding, secretariat was trained, in administration and policy, etc. So we don't just go off, no. I deal with the training in place because we want, and notice, it's over 2 decades I have been working together. South Africa, Botswana. And he didn't talk about, when NEPAD was part of, we took the whole continent. We took the leaders not only of the 14 countries of Southern Africa, but all of the continent. We brought them to Pretoria at the half. We had that, advocacy and awareness sessions and training for a full week. And I, in that training, we were quite clear that, that NEPA thing now go work, I would say it never really did work. I have vision for the mission. Giving thanks to all. I hope Ali can come in. Yeah, Guinea.
Yes.
Or Guinea, how we doing?
He's
still, very great connections that continue to work for decades. We don't just stop. It over. And they started as young activists. And now they are young adult leaders with, family, We feel great about that. So we know our whole next generation being trained from them, and since them did start from they were youths, they now will be able to put into another generation and to the same kind of activism, solutionist mindset. So I give thanks because this week, is 7 decades of activism. Your co-host is celebrating 7 decades. Why 7 decades?
Blessed Earth Strong too, to the eyes. Blessed 70th.
Give thanks. Yes, because my first decade, I was only 7 years old. When the ancient matriarchs built me a 1-room Sunday school to teach the youths in my village of Cassava Peace. So that was 7. And in the second decade, I was only 14 years old when New York State Department of Education hired me as a peer tutor of my high school colleagues. So you see, I've been earning and working from a 7. So it's 63 years on the front line. 63 years. Blessing.
Wow. Powerful. I'm going to start with Sierra Leone, Lion Mountain, Ras culture. I want to know, let's start with the economics, because a lot of time with Rastafari, we focus on the spiritual, and you cannot liberate yourself without economic freedom. What are the state of economics with the Rastafari community in Sierra Leone right now? How are you earning money? And is any collective economics happening right now? And then also, what are the opportunities in Sierra Leone for brethren and sisters in the West to invest with the item on the ground?
All right, give thanks. I would like to center the discussion or the answer purely on the Rastafari and the Pan-African aspect, right?
Yes.
Not generally. I want to get that clear. Is it specifically for the Rastafari, or the Pan-African?
What did I say? Let's start with the Rastafari, then you can widen it to the Pan-African community.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so when you talk about economic freedom, as far as Rastafari or Rastafari community is concerned, we are still struggling because there is no collective before and 4-5 years back compared to now. Now we have the Rastafari Council, we have the Pan-African Coalition, we have the Exodus movement, we have the Ethiopia World Federation. So putting together all these organizations, now we are talking about collectives. Before, it was just a single mansion, which is the 12 tribes of Israel. So it was difficult for us to raise funds because when you look at the leadership of the 12 tribes of Israel, there was no opportunity for them to raise funds because the atmosphere was not good. Political atmosphere was not good. A lot of challenges with the government by then and the current government. So it was a difficult tax for Rastas to raise funds because we have challenges in terms of coming together to organize events. You know, event like the Bob Marley, which is annually organized, was a challenge for us because if you want to organize an event like May 11, the government and through the police will start to chase you. And that was the only platform we have to come together as Rastas. That's the May 11. But then it was challenging. But now we give thanks because the Bob Marley has spread widely in Sierra Leone. And many Rastas, non-Rastas are using that platform to raise funds in terms of organizing events in different communities. So before, it was no opportunity, no economic opportunity for us to raise funds because we have challenge in terms of transportation, we have challenge in terms of welfare, we have challenge in terms of securing constructive houses, we have challenge in terms of expressing ourselves for us to get revenue. So it was a big challenge. But for now, with the coming of the Rastafari Council, it's a different ball game now.
Okay.
We just concluded the Bob Marley night, and it was organized all over the country, including the reggae musicians. Because in Sierra Leone, we have two sets of reggae musicians. We have the Reggae Union, and we also have the reggae movement Sierra Leone. So the Rastafari Council, reggae movement, and the reggae union, and all other Rastas came together and organized the Bob Marley. This is one of the sources we use to raise funds. And now we are thinking about organizing another aspect of fundraising, which is the arts and craft. The Ethiopia World Federation, on the 4th and the 5th of May, we organize the first art and craft training for single mothers, homeless, and marginalized youths. And we want to continue that as part of one of our fundraising as a body or a federation or as a community in Sierra Leone. So it has been a challenge for us because the community is financially handicapped. There is no source of income. You know, we have few Rastas who are up to date, you know, who have the facilities like the former ambassador, the late ambassador, Father Elijah. You know, it was the holy Rastafari elder, leader, who was there to assist, to help the Rastafari community. And he built one of the most beautiful mansions as far as Rastafari is concerned, where Rastas can meet, can discuss, and then give face value to Rastafari in this particular Lion Mount. So it was a challenge for us by then, but for now, I can tell you, we have been putting plans in place now to have new strategies to raise funds. And one of the strategies is to engage on the arts and crafts. And today, we just concluded the Big Green campaign. We are using that particular campaign as well to raise funds. We have been doing it for the past 4 years. And today is another event which we just concluded at one of the strategic places in Freetown, that's the Wally Johnson street known as Kinjimi or Big Market. Big Market is one of the places wherein they used to take Sierra Leoneans from Freetown to America in terms of slave and other parts of the world. So we decided to clean that particular place, and today we are going to have a candle night. Another source of income which we usually use is not that primarily like a source of income, but we are using it as a way of educating as well raising fund, which is the African Liberation Day. So on the 25th of May, we are coming together as a collective, meaning the Rastafari Council, the Pan-African Coalition, the Exodus Movement, and the Ethiopia World Federation to celebrate the African Liberation Day. So, in a nutshell, we have opportunities in terms of raising funds. We have good beaches, which we can engage in tourists.
Yes.
You know, we have opportunity in terms of transportation, opportunity in terms of engaging in educational activities. We have the facilities, but the means, the resources is our key challenge as we speak now.
Okay. We're gonna come forward to the eye. One of the things I'm not hearing is anything related to agriculture. You know.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm going to encourage all of my African brethren and sisters right now, in light of the global food and fuel shortage that is inevitably going to result during this global conflict, is that we invest in agriculture projects. You know, agriculture, construction, I think, are the two areas Rastafari should seek to control a niche in these two areas. But I give thanks. We're going to keep it moving because we have so many panelists. I'm going to go now.
And the Jasmine Squatty, my beloved host, when it comes to...
Hold on, we're not hearing the Queen Mother
Haile. You're not hearing me? My mic is unmuted. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
I want to emphasize not only the importance of agriculture, because agriculture is the first culture.
Yes.
Without agriculture, there's no people, because you cannot live without food.
Yes.
So you have to be planting your own food, and whoever feeding you going to be controlling your liberation. So agriculture is at the heart of African liberation. Give thanks, my brothers.
The foundation, the foundation. Alibaba, can you speak?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My network was bad. And good evening, every families. Greetings by the name of Imperial Majesty Haile King Selassie. I speak French, but I gonna try to speak a little English. We are good place. We have many activity for Rastafari in Guinea Conakry. Yes, we are into the RCC Rastafari Council Continental. We do many things. When we have reasoning, we participate with the energy. But we had one village who called Faso Kele, who the last years, they are bring me to Almay for one festival who called Festival for Immigration, liberate the African people, the young African, to travel, to access in visa facility. But we do many projects with what's called. But we had one village who called Faso Killing. We do elevage, we do agriculture in our village. It's only for village ecology. Yes, but I don't know.
Give thanks, give thanks. Tu es formidable. Tu es
Yeah,
formidable,
yes.
mon frère. Mon frère, tu es formidable.
Well, the movement work for youth, the promotion of African identity, peace, unity, social justice, and serving Africa. Over the year, activity have been organized. Solidarity Day, maybe tomorrow we start it in Bokeh. Bokeh is a region of Guinea. Sometimes we organize African Liberation Day. There we are called Liberation African.
Give thanks, give
But
thanks.
in the movement reach a new story now. The movement come the state with the change of name from Murag to the Rastafari Council of Guinea. Now we are called Kurasgi, Conseil Rastafari of Guinea. We organize sometime education, economy, self-reliance, and spiritual liberation of African people. For us, African liberation cannot be only political. It is must also be economy,
Haile.
educational, and spiritual. Africa must invest in agriculture. On doit beaucoup investir en jeunesse. We can show our culture with the youth, people, and spiritual things. And the story, sometimes we organize for Sekou Touré, for Kwame Nkrumah, for Haile Selassie, for Patrice Lumumba. Yes. Sometimes we have a sound system in Nyabing in the village. But we call all African youth, all African people, all Pan-African to come visit in Guinea to reggae music, about agriculture, about village. I will send something, some documentary after the meeting. You're gonna see the village and you're gonna see the work, because in this meeting we are not, I don't speak very well in English, but I gonna send one documentary who speak about our village, about our Rastafari, about our movement Rasta in Guinea. But you're gonna see it. Is a good documentary. For we have a two place, we have a two for repatriation in Guinea. All African live in state, living in Germany, living in France, want to come in Guinea, for them is feel free for repatriation. This is our project.
We're getting some interference, but I love what the eye is saying. And when you send the footage, we'll definitely play it here on the Lion Voice.
Many projects we do in here, Grande, within some time, homage at Bob Marley, sometimes we do it in Conakry. And as you prédiqueur, Rastafari, we are together for real. Ontan la Gilman, Aradi, que tu sois noir ou blanc, juif ou rasta, tous les mêmes, c'est le même sang qui coule dans nos veines. Unité, peace and love, prospérité, solidarité pour toute l'Afrique, on est ensemble. Ontanara.
Give thanks, my brother. Mon frère. Big up yourself.
Give thanks. On est
Yes.
ensemble.
Bless.
I'm gonna send that documentary.
Yes, and we will play it here on the Lion Voice so that the global family can see the works in Guinea, you know? So we will definitely share with the global family what is happening in Guinea. I want to go to South Africa, to our brother. If you can turn on back your camera.
Umzwaki Sigudla.
Sagudla, my brother Sagudla, if you can turn on your camera. I want to talk about the economics, because I see that the IM are advanced within economic empowerment. And I want to ask about agricultural projects in Southern Africa. Is there any focus with the South Africa youth movement around agriculture? Because as Queen Mother Moses said, with this global instability, the global supply chains being threatened, we have to start from the basics, which is Mama Earth, you know, controlling the food that we eat, and then also creating value-added products from the ground that we can store, we can build that economic base from agriculture. So I want to ask my brother in South Africa, what's happening? Is there any emphasis on agriculture with the South Africa youth movement? And you can unmute. Muzwaki, are you there? Maybe he step away, so we'll keep it moving.
All right. Yeah, because we definitely need him to come, because one of the things I definitely can confirm that happens, not only a Southern African youth movement into agriculture, but he has made sure that females get funded to start them farm.
Okay, nice.
Young females, you know, so when he comes forward, he can share more on that.
Yes.
Bless.
Well, let's move to Nigeria, the African giant. Ras, Honorable Mike Palm, talk to us about the economics of the Rastafari community in Nigeria, and you know, how is it generally? I mean, most places we are right along the poverty line for Rastafari in most regions. How is it in Nigeria, and what are the opportunities that I see as someone who is very savvy in economics?
Bless and love, my king. Give thanks once again for the opportunity. Before I go ahead, I want to once again facilitate with I able ambassador, able soldier and warrior leader, Empress Queen Mother Moses, for her litany of works in Javier. Over the years, you know, no man can say why. Now know what Queen Mother Moses is doing. So, Mama, more love, more power, more strength. You know, see.
Anna frontline soldier, Anna, balance, you know, as male and female. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Give thanks, Mama. So, you know, yes, Raskwasi, blessed love my kings, them. Alibaba and the 40 soldiers. Yeah, man. My brethren from Sierra Leone and all the man, them, Malawi, South Africa, everywhere. The truth, my king, you know, at times, Sinai in Nigeria here, we see things at times a little bit different, you know. Most times, Rasta talk about go to the farm, do some artifacts, you know, wares, stuffs like that. You see, what happens to education? What happens to getting involved in what is driving the world right now? IT. What happens with I running AI? So right here, you know, we think big numbers every time because we like to think big numbers. Like I said in my introduction, I am in the capital of Edo State. That's in the southern part of Nigeria. That's Benin City, the ancient kingdom of Benin City, doing a documentary. Some of these things are things you don't see the Rastafari then doing. And these are big money projects. You see? We want, like here, we know that things are stacked against us. Let me give you some instances. For so many years, we tried to register as a Rastafari organization in Nigeria. We spent money. We have what you call CSC, you know, Corporate Affairs Commission, the agency that is in charge of that. We spent tons of money. At the end of the day, you know, they'll drag you, and at the end of the day, they will leave you by the side because they don't want to, they're afraid of the name Rastafari. First, because first and foremost, they see us anti-establishment. They see us coming to oppose the government because, of course, we are always antagonizing the government because they're not doing what they should do. So we've already been labeled that way. So we are declared persona non grata for many years. They refused to register and but that didn't stop the works. Until now, we have to now stylishly get registered as the Roots and Culture Advocacy Organization of Nigeria. You know, because those are some of the essence of what INA is doing. That is one. And when you know that the system is stacked against you, I don't know about some other countries, when you know that the system is stacked against you, you need to find a way out of it. My brethren, Bagure Ras Culture from Sierra Leone talked about the Bob Marley Day celebrations and things. These were some of the things we used to do way back in the days, many years back, you know. But we've got to find out that Babylon is actually the ones running that thing. And of course, why is I and I even celebrating death instead of it? So when we found out that the commerce, the finance, the money involved. First, I'm Nigerian, first and foremost, you know, but I am Igbo, you know, from the eastern part of Nigeria. That's where you talk about commerce, where you talk about numbers, cash, and all that. So we think about all those things. Now, we found out that even the items we wear, the stuffs we wear, are all made by also Babylon, mostly from China. They bought the items, everything that I now use and things, and we are making them richer every day. So now we have to devise something. We said here in Nigeria, no more. We have to stop all that and start doing our indigenous things and promoting our indigenous things. Like everything I'm wearing now, okay, check this. This is made by one of I members. It's up, down, and you have it in different ways. We have the towns, we have different vibes that we wear. Everything is made by our people. We stopped patronizing things coming from there because we found out that the guys who are doing these things and promoting them aren't Rastafari. They don't even feel what you're feeling. They don't care about what you're doing. They're only interested in the money. So instead of patronizing these people, why not we start doing it and now start patronizing ourselves and do it well? It's not about doing something, but do it in the way that people will love it. You can easily promote it. You can easily sell it. It will be welcomed anywhere. And those are the kind of things we now made our guys doing. Those of them who are into artifacts, because it's not everybody that should be there. Now, the ones who are into farming, because right here in Nigeria, you know, we have our own issues, like the ones from the northern part. That is actually the food basket of the nation. But because of the insurgents, the terrorism, and all that, which are mostly arranged in order to, you know, mess up the country, people can't farm. They can't even go to farm and things, you know. So there are a lot of things people can do to, you know, to make things happen. I keep always talking about education. That's why people like you, Kwasi, Queen Mother Moses there, my brethren from Malawi or something that talked about who is into education. Those are the things I love to hear stuff like that. Because it gladdens your heart. It makes you understand that, okay, we have chances. We shouldn't be limiting ourselves to some particular or in a cocoon, or like some man them say, I and I are sufferers. No, we're not sufferers. It's if you subjugate yourself to that, if you decide to tie yourself down economically and hoping for somebody to come and extricate you from whatever is holding you down, nobody's going to do that. So Rastafari has to take up the gauntlet and do the needful. That's why now we'll be hosting Africa this October. That's the All Rastafari, All African Rastafari Gathering, the 6th edition, and then the 5th edition of the RCC Summit here in Nigeria from October 8 to 13, I think. You know, so and that's going to be huge. And within that same time, you know, because there's a lot of programs arranged for ones-on-ones who are coming in to make money, and ones-on-ones who are in the country to also make money, because it's all about economic empowerment. It's not just, apart from the fact that we are going to, you know, have a lot of activities, you know, the talk show and all that, because that's what some aspect of the event are. Talking about things without doing them most times, you know, are some of the issues Rastafari have in Africa. But then, if we can decide to topple every obstacle being set on our ways by these pale faces who are running majority of Africa, especially the southern part of Africa, if Africans can stand firm and take up the gauntlet and do what is right, it could, yeah, man, there could be some issues. Why not? No pain, no gain. But let's do it so that we can be totally in charge of our affairs. So we don't always talk about doing artifacts, small artifacts, or farming for just living, subsistence living, so that you have food to eat and all that. It's that's what keeps keeping us under that kind of economic lack. Because we keep talking about these things, but the things we can do are there. I always see Queen Mother Moses before she retired. She was jetting all over the world. That is work. I love to see Rastafari in such situations. When Ambassador Ofrankai was alive, when he was the ambassador of his country to Ethiopia, those things gives I massive joy. That is the place, the area I want people to start talking about Rastafari. It's not always going cap in hand trying to, no man, because we can do all these things. When one of our brethren came out from Gambia some years ago to run for the presidency, we in Nigeria, some of us supported from here with the little we can, because that was amazing. You know, so economic empowerment of the Rastafari lies in the hands of Rastafari. Selassie himself was massive, very rich, contented in every way of life, and still righteous. So you can make money without being sinful.
Yes.
So why do we still want to be called sufferers? Those are some of the mindsets and I needs to start changing. And by the time we start changing, I want to see a Rastafari owner of an aircraft leasing company or you know, something like that, or even a line, popular, you know, stuff like that. Now some of the items who have the funds to invest, yes, the cannabis business is big, you know, and for the places that is being liberalized, you know, once are getting involved, because if you don't, Babylon will still take it over just like they are doing everywhere. But then when I see once them like you know, Rohan, like the one Rohan just did, Lion Order, and I was wondering the amount of money that was put in there. How about if you put this, though of course they run so many other companies, but then we should not be just strictly be attached to cannabis and things. We should also have our hand in different sectors of the economy. You know, our hands must be, you know, the juicy cookie jars, man. Not stealing from there, but making the jars full with cookies.
I agree.
Bless and love. Just the aspect that we can, you know, expand as we go forward. It's just that mindset that Rastafari needs to change, especially Africa, because we shouldn't. A continent should always remember that it is a continent and not fold itself to toe the lines of an island. You must always remember that you're a continent to be able to lead. Africa, they call us, in Africa here, they call us mostly Nigerians, they call us arrogant and things, especially Igbo. No, we're not arrogant. We want to be self-reliant. We want to be independent. We don't want to be overtly dictated to, you know, abused, debased. No, man. No. How do you think, what makes you think you're better off than I am? Because come on, let's leave me and you the same time, level playing field. Oh yeah, two of you get up, get these things done. I might dust you with your pal face and all that, dust you badly. You might not see my back. So what makes you think you're better off than me? So when we are very insistent and we decide to follow our own path and the way we fashion for ourselves to make things work, some people see it as arrogance, but that's just the way for you to live, the way for you to be respected. Because if you don't have respect, which also have some connotations with economic dependence. If you are dependent on somebody, you can't have respect. But if you're economically independent, you don't need to be dictated to. Yes, you can leave the thing, face another thing, or show your class, okay, without this, I can still live. I will make this happen. I'll bring out water from this. If you think it's not going to happen, I can do this that you think is not going to happen. That is the I can do spirit, and that's what Rastafari needs to have.
Yes, I give thanks.
Blessed Lord, my king. I don't want to touch on some vicious issues right now that is actually tearing Africa apart, because this forum is not for that right now. But I give thanks for the opportunity, Rastafari.
Yes, I.
And I give thanks for the also Honorable Mike Palm. We give thanks.
Yes, it's very important that perspective be shared. I think we have to be strategic, you know, we have to be strategic. We don't want to just relegate ourselves to agriculture, as you say, but we can't ignore that, because we don't want whoever feeds you, as Queen Mother Moses said, controls you. So and then a lot of the food, especially in Africa and the Caribbean, is full of chemicals. Even if it's ital, you know, they're filling it with glyphosate. So we're going to the market to buy poison to kill ourselves. So we as Rastafari have to control the agricultural sector, as well as the technology sector, as well as the you know, the value-added food chain. So I really want to just emphasize that. But you touch a very key point. I want to go down to Botswana, to our educator, because you said education. So I'm going to ask Mwagisi if he can tell us, how do we spark this educational liberation? You know, what, you know, His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I reserved the portfolio of Minister of Education for himself, because he said that only educated people can consider themselves truly free or liberated. You know what I mean? So education has to be a key part of our liberation, or we will fall victim to neo-colonialism once again. When people come with money, we will fall for the same trick if we're not educated on the importance of our sovereignty. So talk to us about, how does education factor into African liberation, and what concrete steps do we need to be taking right now to educate the youngest continent on the planet that have the most children, the continent that have the most children. Talk to us about education.
Yeah, yes, I give thanks, brethren. Look, I'll try and be, brief and to the point. And I'll also make an attempt to address, relevance when we talk about agriculture, for instance, because like I was saying, look, we cannot overemphasize the fact that, typically in a day, how much nutrients does the eye need to function as a healthy being? And when we say that, we are talking about being able to have the healthy body and the healthy mind in order to function, whether it's, a war they bring, Panay and I, or whatever thing that they bring. So we need a healthy body, right? So with education, like we rightly say, look, universal language right now for the African, be they in the 6th region or at home, is, the message spread by Marcus Garvey, up ye mighty race, can accomplish what you will. And when we zero in on the education, right from preschool all the way to university, we have a curricula that we need to critically look at. Now, questions to ask is, does this curriculum, majority of which came in, at some point in Botswana, for instance, I don't know about other countries, but, those that were colonized by the British, for instance, had this thing about Cambridge overseeing all examinations, exit examinations, be it in high school, or at some point even the primary school, what you call elementary in perhaps, the US, right? And so controlling the curriculum for the United Kingdom at the time was to also instill a certain mindset where, the crown, the English crown, was trying to build an empire where they said the sun never sets. What we needed to do when we're talking about decolonizing the mind with education was to look at what the curriculum then was giving the African at home, particularly at home, because this is where, the colonialism started. We can address the slavery curriculum. But, for instance, in South Africa, we had the Bantu education thing, which was to kind of direct, in a literal sense, direct the communities in a way that wasn't uplifting them to fight against apartheid and those things. Sigudla can correct me if I'm wrong. But the same was happening in Botswana, with that colonial curricula, where the narratives, for instance, in your history, in your English lessons, your geography wasn't focused on the fact that, for instance, when you look at Zimbabwe, Mosiwa Tunya, a place called Mosiwa Tunya, the smoke that thunders, David Livingstone comes here as a grown man, so-called missionary or whatever, bringing religion to the pagans or whatever they used to say about us. And he is taken by locals to this magnificent place called Mosiwa Tunya, and he gets there and call it Victoria Fall. So when we are saying we need to rearrange the curricula in a way that then talks to our story, teach our young people what we stand for, what we used to do. See, so the legendary poet Muta shared one time in one of his poems about thieving legacy. And majority of that poem, if the item know it, is inspired by the writings of the good scholar and professor from Senegal, if I'm not mistaken, Professor Cheikh Anta Diop, about stolen legacy from the continent of Africa before colonialism, where Alexandria and places came and thief all our maths, Pythagoras and them. So we are saying, look, large up to the Lion Voice Network for creating a platform where then the stories of the African can be told by the African.
Yes.
And so we will rearrange and decolonize the mind. That's the first thing. Yes. Second thing, our curriculum needs to be done in such a way that when we talk about, for the longest time, our education system has been set up in a way where you can have people question what the teacher brings, or whoever it is, teacher at the time. Be they folks who have gone to college and they train in teaching or whatever, or they have some type of content that they get and they want to pass on to the younger ones. A sense of questioning, asking, so why would you say a certain thing is the way that you say it is? Is that really true? What is the evidence? So a critical mindset in these things where, we want to appreciate love. What it is that, when we talk about the fact that a certain traditional leader during colonial times, we have a story in Botswana about a leader of the ethnic group that I come from, Khosi Tsekedi Khama. Khosi translated in English is king. What we get as a translation from those that are said to be native English speakers, they would say chief. I don't know if the item have had to reflect on the difference between the king and the chief. But anyway, to us, he's the king, right? Because he's the leader of one of the largest groups. Yeah. So the king, when there was a time that colonialists were coming into Botswana and places, there was a certain young white boy who was staying in the community, and he behaved in a way like, the young, youths in the community, in the village, if they misbehave, lose live action, and they were doing something that wasn't right, they were brought before the traditional court, and a conversation was had that, youth, so and so, Munya, if it's Munya, you've been behaving so bad. Maybe you're impregnating, the young women, in a way that is not part of our tradition. We don't want that to be happening. This is the elders talking to the youth, right? Not traditional. And so this is what happened with this young white boy. Came in, was doing this and misbehaving in town, in the village, and elders take him and flog him, because that is part of our tradition. If you don't listen, they spank you a little, but it wasn't spanking a little in the traditional sense. It was an entire walloping on the back. This young man was given the punishment in a court system. Guess what happened in them time there? You can go read it up. Youth was called Phineas McIntosh, and he got a beating. The entire, because it was pre-colonial time in them time there, the entire British arsenal or military arsenal descended on my little village at the time, because they didn't think a British citizen staying amongst our people, misbehaving, cannot be put on the right path by ways of our tradition. So we are saying, look, critical consciousness, questioning these things, liberation pedagogy, that thing. We are not going to take things as they are packaged, as if a nice little cake on a birthday from some foreign place, when we, the African communities, are not developing our own. And supporting our own systems to function and put our communities where we want them to be. So the third thing I want to share quickly is what we've been talking about since the conversation started here on the platform, economic independence. Again, I will go back to, the time that Marcus Garvey was teaching us about self-reliance. It goes to issues of, what we've been saying again, agriculture, economics, education, IT, you name it. We need to be seen. So I agree with the I in Nigeria about, because we couldn't all be farmer, we couldn't all be teacher, we couldn't all be lawyer, we can be all scientists. However, as a community, we need to be deliberate and intentional about making sure every little space that requires to build our community together, we put in soldiers of the army in those spaces. Self-reliance cannot be overemphasized. So there is definitely, when I conclude, I'll share on opportunities for those investments that we can do. Of course, then we need to look at legislation in the different countries within the continent, how easy then it becomes to set up shop, startups, or stuff like that, where we're able to then get a brethren or sister coming in from, any of the parts, the 6 regions, to invest, hold a percentage, a stake in an establishment that will take Africa forward. So economic independence, one of the key things that we must be teaching in commerce classes in our African curricula. And this talks to the 4th point of regional integration. The Pan-African curricula, we can never ever shy away from talking about right now the intense conversation on the continent, particularly what is happening in South Africa is sparking this thing where brethren and sistren in South Africa think a next person coming in, from foreign, not foreign per se, but, another African country, and hustling whatever it is that they are trying to make a living in South Africa, that person deserves to be kicked out. We can have that conversation. If there are elements, just like how elements that, rotten potatoes are in our community, and, let's say, folks are bringing in methamphetamine or whatever, drugs, cocaine, crack and cocaine, to destroy the youth. We cannot allow that. But at the same time, we are not going to use those elements that are bad for our society to say black on black violence can be supported or whatever, right?
Yes.
So we really need to separate issues, and where the positivity must come in with our next brethren, our next sister, that must be done as long as it's for the upliftment of our race.
Yes.
Because when certain races look at us and they look down upon us, they don't look at you and think. I remember a speech of Malcolm X and say, or Peter Tosh and say, look, they don't come for you because you are Methodist or you are Catholic.
Yes.
They come for you because you're black.
That is it.
So we must really look at this thing as the entire African continent. When we talk, the conversation about Pan-Africanism must look at this thing. And so that we teach our people. When things were happening in South Africa, we always say this. Botswana got some serious bombing. When the South African apartheid government was fighting activists who were standing up for truth and right, some of those brothers and sisters were teachers in some of the high schools in parts of Botswana. Those guys would come in here without question or irrespective of whatever we call sovereignty of a different state. Those Boers came here and they bomb certain places and kill everyone, including the activists, brethren and sistren who were here to uplift communities in education and places. So we are going to unite and unite to make sure the legacy of those brethren, Steve Bikos and what you call the other brethren, Botswana Mashinini, I think that's his name, who fought, died young, who stood up because, you know, they were educators, bombed by the South African apartheid government in them time there. So we want to really work on integration. Just the other day, you know, President of South Africa was visiting here in Botswana, and we were talking about easy cross-border solidarity efforts. That is the conversation we want to be having. We want to be able to not use a passport to cross into South Africa or into Namibia or into Zimbabwe. We want to be using like the regular identity document that just identifies you as coming from a region like Botswana, or not necessarily a passport. If they can do that in the European Union, why cannot we do it? These are the conversations we must be having, and we need to be incorporating this in the classrooms. The same applies to engaging with the African outside the continent. And this is where then we say the problems that are happening, particularly in the United States, about social injustice. You know, I'll share a story. And for this, you know, I'll pay my utmost biggest homage and respect to the taxpayer in the United States, particularly the Black brothers and sisters. I know when I got there, I got to learn. I was housed at the University of Pennsylvania, and I got to learn of Black and brown folks, but obviously the Black, those that we call the Black, or with the law that they say 1/8, you know, your blood, or what do you call it, Mama Moses? 1/8. As long as you have 1/8 of blood running through your veins, is that it, King Kwasi?
Yes, I. A 1 drop rule.
1 drop.
It's one drop, not 1 year. It want to have 1 drop of black blood. Them say you're black.
So you see, so social injustice and equality. One of the key things that we must do is to then engage in that conversation where we are able to appreciate love, that, you know, the badness that is happening, which is why repatriation is a must. It's been a must from since, you know, ships loaded brothers and sisters from here on the shores and took them away across the Atlantic. But right now we are saying, look, the conversation about what is taking place, you know, the killing of your George Floyds, of your, you know, lynching of, you know, the other sister who was playing video games with a little boy, and police break their door down and shoot them dead. Those conversations that are happening, the conversations in universities, in schools, mass killing of Black people. We are not going to forget some of the syphilis experiments that they did back in them time there, specifically on our race. So what we are saying is conversations like this, we must remember, teach them in our history to know that they don't come for you because there's something else other than you being Black, right? So we are saying, look, let us look at all these things and rearrange them, the narratives in the conversation, because narratives is everything until the lion has its own historian. So I'll continue saying, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but I'll say it all the same. Large up to the lion voice.
Yes.
So on what to do and some of the opportunities that stand there. Within the education perspective, I think not only with the classrooms and the schoolrooms abroad or overseas, tendency. We need to come up with schoolrooms that will integrate, particularly if we're able to use your platforms like, you know, your Teams or Zooms or whatever.
Yes.
I spoke about Starlink earlier. We need to be developing curriculums that will teach our little young scientists to push up our satellite in the sky, that we can then have our own uninterrupted internet.
Yes. And I want to applaud the internet in Botswana right now, because they are coming through very clearly. You know what I mean? I have to applaud the internet in Botswana. I mean, I tell you, I'm marveling.
Give thanks.
But just wrap up the sound and let us. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to wrap up the what to do. So the schoolrooms, let us come up with those. Create a platform where youths in Atlanta, Georgia, youths in South Africa, Soweto, youths in Botswana, Gaborone, can gather around on that platform from their comfort of their spaces or homes and engage and interact. We must be coming up with programs that build self-sustenance. We spoke about that. I mean, for now, I'll share this with you. I have a piece of land, maybe about 20 or closer to 30 hectares, where if we was to engage with our next brethren, fence up this thing, dig up a borehole, do an irrigation system there, we can definitely have some organic farming going on.
Okay.
Skills upliftment. We must be able to share skills, not only the theoretical aspects, but we must also look at the practical aspects. Over and above agriculture, your plumbing, your mechanics, your fashion and fabrics, everything, you name it, because we got that, we must do that. We must concentrate on those things. Plentiful opportunities, as I said, but yes, so in conclusion, I feel so one of the things that then we must be doing is to develop a database of those ones that have something going on. You know, Bingishon with Habesha, Queen Thais with our homeschooling thing, and next brethren in Botswana doing whatever, Sigudla, South African Youth Movement doing something. We need that database and create a network where then we must, that's one-on-one. So on one-on-one, people can then have a conversation.
I love
I don't know if I make sense, but those are my 2 cents.
I love that. I don't know if Goodla is there. Are you there, Goodla? We were trying to reach you earlier. Can you turn on your camera? We want to see if South Africa internet can match Botswana. We're having a Wi-Fi clash.
Yeah, the challenge got out. Can South Africa Wi-Fi compete with neighbor Botswana?
Botswana internet was clean like a whistle.
Clean.
We're not seeing the my brother. But I want to talk about the economic opportunities in Southern Africa that the youth movement is engaged in, and also sovereignty. You know, we talk about right now, we've been putting a lot of focus here on the Lion Voice Network on Black food sovereignty, meaning that we control from seed to table our food. And we can't stress this enough. We're seeing now with this war in the Middle East that, you know, they say 40% of the fertilizer is now not coming out of the Middle East. And this is going to have major impact. But this is chemical fertilizer, urea, which can have very detrimental impacts on the soil and long-term agriculture. So what we want to know is what efforts are there any efforts with the Southern Africa Youth Movement to invest in agriculture? Queen Mother Moses says yes. We want to hear from the eye about you know, what efforts are being made in terms of our food sovereignty, and then also talk about post-harvest storage and value added parts of the agricultural value chain. Is there any inputs being made in that area?
Yeah. Good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. Once again, I just want to check if Chair, are you able to? Am I audible?
Yes. You're at the Botswana standard now. We can see you.
Well, the truth of the matter is that we are still part of the most disadvantaged because these are some of the things that our majority of our communities are still struggling to have access. Of course, there is some bit of progress.
We're having Wi-Fi. The guy.
Guy Wi-Fi.
Guy Wi-Fi is interrupting. Let's give a little bit more time to our brother.
But I'm still doing that load shedding in South Africa.
Okay. So turn off your camera. Turn off your camera and see if it's better. Can you hear us? Muzawaki?
You very well and everything. Okay, let's do this. Do you hear me now? Okay, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm back.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm using my phone. There was another call coming in. I think it was just interference.
Okay.
No, okay. I was just saying that just in line with the conversation that Monya was saying from Botswana.
Yes.
I think we've got to look at the issue of economic independence, where we talk about the concept of self-reliance, which is very, very key, very key issues and so on and so on. But obviously, when we talk about the challenges that we have today, or basically when you're looking at the challenges that faces modern Pan-Africanism, or of what we can deem as modern African nationalism, which then talks to the issue of African identity. We cannot do that without really appreciating where did we go wrong from the struggle for independence and the struggle after independence, and then where is the gap between the two, and so on, so that we are able to identify in the discourse of Pan-Africanism point of divergence, where we differ, where we think we don't agree, and point of convergence, where we think we agree, and then all that, and then say what then becomes a Marshall Plan. NEPAD, the new Partnership of Africa's Development, attempted that Africa must have the economic Marshall Plan that, amongst others, will deal with underdevelopment, economic development, and total liberation, because we cannot talk about freedom of people in a pool of poverty where people don't have basic access to water, electricity, infrastructure, and so on. So I think those are some of the things that we need to look at. So I think we need to look at it. Even if you talk about the issues of self-reliance, food production, and everything, it's difficult to talk about those if you don't have a necessary infrastructure that supports that. If you don't have power, if you don't have water, because you can't have agriculture without water systems, without water that is available for production, and so on and so on. And then by and large, also look at the education system that we have in our universities, in our colleges across the continent and our countries, independent countries. And then we also have to begin to look at what role do you have, the expatriates or those who were forcefully removed from Africa through the Atlantic slave trade. What role can they play with the skills that they've obtained in their region back into the continent? Now, that's where we are struggling in terms of having a proper framework of how to harness the skills that we have, and so on and so on. Now, I just wanted to raise one thing that I think is also very important, before we look at practical solutions and begin to share examples of what we're talking about. Now, after independence, we now have what Cabral spoke about, what happens after Mbele, if you study Cabral and you study what is happening today, is then the picture of what Cabral spoke about, that you now have we had the element of neo-colonialism and neo-imperialism, where the people who took over power, the liberation movement, began to take the identity of the oppressor in terms of the policies and everything that they are doing to stay in power forever and ever, and then take away the freedom of the people. That is envisaged in Pan-Africanism, because when you talk about African identity and Pan-African, we talk about people that must have right to self-determination. Now, in this context, in many African states, people do not necessarily have the right to self-determination because of the nature of the democracies that we have in place and so on and so on. And then what that does is that in a South African context, for instance, during apartheid, we ran away from this country. We went to different countries because we were oppressed. We have the same phenomenon where people of Zimbabwe are running away from their regime in Zimbabwe. They're running away from various regimes and going to various places in the continent. So basically, we are saying Africa is facing one of the largest internal displacement in the world in terms of the migration. If you look at the number of refugees, for instance, you have more refugees in South Africa, for instance, than any other region currently in the world, where we are talking about the number surpasses up to about 27 million people that are actually in South Africa. Majority of them do not necessarily have any forms of documentation because they don't have identity in their own homes. They are forced by a number of issues, the socio-economic factors that move the people there. And now what that does, that it then kills the element of African identity, because now you have the nations like Botswana, Namibia, and so on, becoming overwhelmed by these repressions that are happening in various countries and so on and so on. And then people hide behind sovereignty to take responsibility for the state of the citizens that they are facing. So those are some of the things that we need to look at. So we need to characterize our own situation correctly, to say what
It's a phone call that came in. It's not the South African Wi-Fi, the brethren says. So,
yes.
Very
Overstand. And he's so always. Everyone always I try to get him. So we give thanks for the little time when we get with him. And I really and truly have to give thanks for each of my brothers that are on this call. Thank you all, you overs, because you know that you're an African born in Nigeria, an African born in Guinea, an African born in Botswana, like my host and I, African born in Jamaica. We want to first identify I and myself as Africans. You overs, everything else is about not as important as the fact that I and I are Africans. When I and I can hold on to that identity, we can hold on to all the accomplishments that I and I have given the world as Africans. Can you imagine what the world would be like if the African born in America never did create the stoplight and use the flag colors of Ethiopia to run the world? Think about it.
Serious. Are you there, my brother?
Come in, Umzwaki. One of the home. Umzwaki Sigudla.
Umzwaki, are you ready? We love what you're saying.
Well, while Mzwaki is speaking, I was just saying to the chair, host and co-host, so I may have to get on the road and drive home because it's getting dark here. I'll try and keep connected, but since I'll be on the move, it may be a little difficult to keep up with it. But I give thanks plentiful for the opportunity, and I'll be on the side, on the backstage.
Yes,
bless.
Thank you, my brother, for joining us. We're gonna seal up shortly because I know everybody is busy, and we thank you for your very relevant contributions. Please help us to spread this to our Botswana family so that we can
without a doubt
Yeah, we
Okay,
can.
the time. In America, it's 12 noon. In Jamaica, it's 11. And I know it's different times on the continent. So you see, the sun
Yes.
never set on
Never
Africa
said.
and the
On the
Africans.
African Empire.
No.
Yes.
Yes,
Rastafari. Give thanks. Let me give thanks.
Rastafari,
Harmonia,
Rastafari.
we love you, love you. Heal your wife and family for I and I. Tell them so we're glad
Love
that
you more.
they can share with I and I because we care. You overs always.
Bless.
Yes,
Bless. Always. All right.
Is Muzwaki, are you there? We have our brother Ras Kadamawi from Zambia. He said that I man overstand the overwhelmingness, the I chant still. South Africa must be more accommodating to brothers and sisters within the continent. So this is a sentiment, and I think it comes down to the education in the education system. How we view ourselves as African, how we view our brothers who are coming into the country as African. And Ras Kadamawi says South Africa is a beneficiary of collective African effort. For example, Zambia houses Wulapa South African freedom fighters. So, which is true, a lot of the South African freedom fighters took refuge in the surrounding nations during the liberation struggle. So, it's very true. Muzwaki, are you there? Okay. I see him unmuting and muting, trying to come through. What I'm going to do is give each panelist a chance to say a final sound. We have to continue this reasoning because this is so crucial. But I hope they them see the value of what we're doing here on the Lion Voice Network. All right, we're forward. All right, come through. Seal up.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. I was just saying about just to wrap the conversation that we need to provide the correct Pan-Africanist education that seeks to promote African identity and solidarity. The same way we did during the struggle against colonialism and imperialism, we should continue. And then we should be shamefully be open to those that divide our people, those that use the vulnerability of our people to hide what they're actually doing. In fact, the South African context, in the South African context that we have, there's a number of elements that we must isolate. There are criminal elements that we must isolate. There's lack of accountability in terms of government authorities that we must isolate. We must teach our people that whatever pressures that they face, we must correctly identify who's the enemy, so that they don't see the African as an enemy, and so on and so on. These are some of the things that we have, but this is not just a South African thing. Ghana has gone through the same thing. Botswana has gone through the same thing. Namibia is doing the same thing. But it is important to continue to build this conversation, what it means to deal with these things and everything. But over and above that is that the future of the continent is not safe if our economies are not growing. So it means that the growth of one country at the expense of the other, or if we don't have uniform development in terms of economic growth across our countries, if the measurement in terms of governance and accountability is not emphasized and everything, we are going to have an issue where the African people are being divided. They are being divided by those who don't want us to unite. Because if Africans are united, then it is not in the best interest of those who actually benefit from disunity of the African people, even within the context of South Africa. So I think we need to look at that. And at the heart of what is painful in South Africa, for instance, what is happening now is then takes a posture of a class question. Because if for instance, engineers who are coming from anywhere in the continent, who are here doctors, nurses who are running their own, they are not affected by this. It is
Yeah.
ordinary people who are vulnerable, who don't have anything, who are poor from other countries that need social protection when they're in South Africa, competing with those that have nothing. So basically, it's poor against poor, fighting against each other. So those are some of the things that we need to find. Those people, if they unite, they work together, then they could be looking at this thing. Because what we also know, for instance, is that the people who are migrating to our South African means they've got more skill that they can they can be used. But over and above that, there's a cry of talking about undocumented people. Our ask has been to the South African government: why don't you give the people papers? Why don't you regulate them? Why don't you give the papers so that there's accountability? They are all registered and so on and so on. Why are you not doing that? I mean, if they're already here, you're talking about somebody who's in the country for the last 10 years, who has got children that are attending schools and so on. They still don't have papers. They don't have papers. They don't have anything. They don't bank. They don't. So you cannot trace them on anything. So you're saying that the immigration policy as it stands in South Africa is not realistic to this current situation that is happening in the country. Document the people, give them access, record them, and so on and so on. Those are some of the things that we are fighting. But I must also indicate to colleagues that there's a bill in Parliament now that seeks to look at those issues. That if you're in South Africa for 5 years, and then you can then identify the South African culture, for instance, why are you not regulated in terms of formal documentation and so on and so on, so that you're in the country legally, you can contribute to the economy, you can have a bank account, you can buy a house formally, you can have all the things that are supposed to be done by an ordinary citizen. So those are some of the conversations that we need to have. So at the heart of this is also the education education and element. But I must also emphasize to the panel so that they know the people who benefit in South Africa about the current situation are the white establishments. That what they do, they will remove all South Africans because South Africans have rights, and then hire those that do not have rights, that do not have rights from anywhere. And when they demand salaries, they call the immigration officers to be arrested so that they don't have to be paid their salaries. So you've got the huge exploitation of people who are in the country, and that's what it does. It then creates what you call a social pressure on the basis of national identity. But that is cost delivery. But no one wants to talk about that. President Mbeki, for instance, last week mentioned this. But no, we are actually dealing with the wrong person. The people who are setting up this are these people who are behaving where now we have got another form of slave trade that is happening in South Africa, where other Africans from other nation states are being exploited and everything, and then causing also instability, so that the attention in South Africa should not be against those who still possess majority of the land, who control the economy. It should be now black on black violence and so on and so on. And they also know that if that happens, South Africa stands to be isolated internationally by African states to say this is a type of conduct that you don't expect from a country like yourself, given the history where we come from. So I thought that it was important just to share this as my last contribution. Thank you.
Give thanks. And I think one of the things that we have to do with these ones is we have so much arable land in South Africa that's not being farmed. There's still so much imports that are coming in, reliance on imports. If we can not just invest in the farming, but also the post-harvest, the storage, the value added in terms of the food chain, processing, because these foreigners are willing to work. They're coming from abject poverty and they're coming into the country willing to work. In America, they have, a lot of the illegal immigrants that work on the farms, harvesting and things. But if we could create a system where they could be farming and do it in an ethical way, but then the South Africans are providing the value-added parts of the value chain in terms of the post-harvest, the storage, post-storage, transportation, the processing, agro-processing, I think this is a way that we could harness some of this labor, you know, and at the same time move toward black food sovereignty. Because again, I want to emphasize, you know, they're projecting that a catastrophe is coming to Africa because of the lack of the chemical fertilizer coming out of the Middle East. But I see it as an opportunity for us to return to organic ITAL farming and to supply, you know, the food needs of the continent and potentially build wealth. So I keep you know, emphasizing the agriculture because, again, we can't fight a revolution if we can't feed ourselves. We can be so intellectual, we can be so smart, but if we can't feed ourselves, or if we're buying poison food that is full of Monsanto, glyphosate, and we're getting cancer and we're killing ourselves, then what are we really doing? So we have to start from the ground, and we can't focus just on the agriculture. We got to focus on post-harvest, because that's where we drop down. We always focus on tilling the land, but then we have no storage, the food waste. We don't have any markets. We're not looking at the marketing of the food, making sure it's reaching where it's to go. We're not creating value-added products. And then we go and import these same products from Europe, from Singapore, from China, from all of these places, when this is a place that we could build significant wealth. So I just want to leave it there. We're over our time. So I want to give our panelists...
And I know we're over our time, my beloved host, but I just want to emphasize, as we're talking about agriculture, that Umzwaki has not, you know, he has Southern African Youth Movement. Females have been funded, you know, see, to go into farming.
Yes.
And that is very important, you know. Lots of things. And so, Umzwaki and I represent what are the solution and the positive thing when the African born at home and the African born abroad collaborate together. Because of that, I and I have been able to impact so many lives. Southern African Youth Movement, you know, 20 years ago, we ensured that those in the townships and whatever were able to get a bank account. Let's talk about economic empowerment, right? We ensured they were able to get bank accounts. That was very, very important. You know, these are the kinds of things. And yes, you know, during COVID, there was warehouses that were put into place. You understand? And many farms that were started, and the water that we put in, and boreholes and etc., so that there could be future, you know, initiatives and future food. So yeah, the warehousing has been going on with Southern African Youth Movement also, because Umzwaki is so brilliant to have the vision for the mission. Bless.
I do give thanks. I do give thanks. We're going to give everyone a chance to just give their final sound. I'm going to start with the Ras culture. If you can just give your final sound for the global family from out of Lion Mountain, Sierra Leone. And then we'll ask Honorable Mike Pam to give his final sound, and then Queen Mother Moses. And then I have a couple of announcements, and then we seal up. Ras Culture, can you give us your final sound? You're muted. Ras Culture. Ras Culture, are you there? Are you there, Ras Culture? All right. Wi-Fi the guy is trying, but he cannot win. Honorable Mike Palm, give us your final sound. And anything that you have to say about African liberation as it relates to Nigeria, which is the most populous country and which we need to pay attention to in terms of our global Rastafari family. We need to be investing in our brothers and sisters on the ground in Nigeria to expand the Rastafari Pan-African footprint. But give us your final sound, Honorable.
As is I, my king, give thanks. First and foremost, I want to give thanks, really and truly to the brethren from South Africa. Man, a pure heart. Man was speaking truth, facts, And I'm saying this because I personally is disappointed in some of I brethren from South Africa because of the nonchalant attitude and ways in which some of them were even shamelessly defending the Afrophobic attacks on fellow Africans, and that's very sad. INA is not in support of illegal migration. INA is not in support of undocumented people coming to mess up the country. And of course, INA is not in support of a single Nigerian who is in South Africa doing wrong things, undocumented, and still doing wrong things. Why? These things are simple. The system should catch these people. The point is that corrupt officials in South Africa are colluding with some of these criminal elements because of funds, because of money in doing these things. In a sense, society, what you should do is to arrest these people, let them, if you commit a crime, you should do the time, or whatever it is constitutionally applicable to such crimes, met it out to the person. And then deport his ass back to wherever he's coming from, and make sure his country of origin also, deals with the person. Those are ways of dealing with stuff like this. But the way some of our I brethren were defending this bloodletting and things, made I question the Pan-African spirit once again, question the rainbow-ness of their whole concept. Question Mandela, Steve Biko's, Chris Haney's, Sobukos, and a whole lot of all these fathers. They have questioned their sacrifices. Because you now start wondering if some of the ones them out there now do not really know the history. I, for one, here in Nigeria, all of us, even as pupils in primary school, we are all levied. Once you're paying your school fees, there's a certain amount of money that's been deducted, which is South African Freedom Levy, going to the ANC. I paid this all through my life till Mandela came out of prison and all that. My siblings did, my neighbors did, everybody did. But that is not to say that people should illegally enter a country and try to run it down. That is very, very sad. But then we shouldn't be treating our brothers and sisters the way our South African brothers and sisters are treating them. Because of course we know we hear the voice of Jacob, but it's the hands of Esau that is doing this. It's just like the brethren for South Africa enumerated, truthfully. But the question is that how long should we as Africans continue to allow ourselves to be used by the same people, abused severely over and over again by the same people, and debased to the extent that now they have permanently built up a solid wage between you and your brethren? Not talking about the frontline states people. For Nigerians who are there doing rubbish, they should treat them with whatever their constitution allows. Do whatever you need to do to any criminal. Criminals are criminals wherever, however, in whatever color or name. You understand? And I can never ever support it. You see? So criminality is criminality and should be treated that way. But as a government, there are ways for us to do these things. We know that they will never allow us to do what we want to do. But then it behoves us as Africa for the benefit of Africa. That is for Pan-Africanism. Because anything without that, if we start bringing demarcations and all that, then we are messing it up. Like one of the brethren pointed out, okay, in Nigeria, some sometime in the early 80s under Shehu Shagari's administration, before the military purge. There was what was wrongfully tagged Ghana must go debacle. That was late 1982 83. You know, and by then Ghana was having their worst financial spurt for that took a very long time to heal. It was still under the latter part of Jerry Lawrence reign that they started breathing well.
Yes,
so,
yes.
but Nigerians saw that. Nigeria saw through the ploy by the Nigerian government then to blame our brothers from not just Ghana, our brothers from other countries who were in Nigeria, because in Nigeria they have, even when you talk about ANC, some of their top-notch people who they thought we are in Zambia and some of the neighboring states, we are here in Nigeria actually. You know, that was the clandestine way they were working there. At the end of the day, Nigerians rejected that government-sponsored motion to eject so-called foreigners because they were the ones who are making the economy. No, we rejected it because the point is that you guys are corrupt. You are not doing what you should do. Do your homework, do the right things you should do, and then everything will be all right. That was why no Ghanaian or no African national from any country was tampered with. No hair of anybody was tampered with. Nobody was killed. No properties were touched. Nothing was vandalized. You understand? But the point is that the government now used their might to make sure that you know, they fished out some of the people and they expelled them. Why? Nigerians were hiding a lot of Ghanaian families. My family did. I was small. I saw that. I lived this moment. You know, so there's no comparison. When the people decide to do the right thing, they will do the right thing.
It is.
When you want to be continually used, of course you'll be used. These guys are still holding 80% of the funds, of the economic power of South Africa. They are still holding 80% of the land.
Yes.
And what do? You turn around to fight and kill your own brothers and sisters, as in lynch them. People's brothers, people's mothers, people's sisters. Lynch them, breadwinners. Brothers whom some of them, their parents or their relatives actually contributed immensely to the freedom you enjoy, if you're actually enjoying any freedom anyways.
Sure.
So, you know, at the end of the day, the people who are doing these things, the time will come when, after setting you up against your brothers, how many are the South Africans? How many of them? How many are they in number? And how much political power and how much economic power do they have compared to Africa, the rest of Africa? And they are setting you up against these people and you're stupidly falling in. Come on. Only in Nigeria, one state in Nigeria will provide people who are more economically buoyant and more politically, stable than the entire Black South Africans. I can tell you that. It's not about joke or throwing tantrums. It's about reality. But the point is that let's do things the way we should do it, because we will still need each other. This world goes on. Africa will always be here. Sub-Saharan Africa will always be Sub-Saharan Africa. You know? So, and things will turn around. So many of the countries who hitherto we are not, didn't have anything. They are not having stuff. A lot of countries are discovering oil, discovering a lot of valuable materials.
Yeah.
In their sovereignty. You think they will all continue to be like that forever? No. Now Ghana, Nigerians now are trooping into Ghana too. Nigerians' own issue is everything is here. You can be whatever you want to be in Nigeria. But the point is that some of us are naturally adventurous, and of course our government is bad. We have always had corrupt system over and over, and the amount of money one person steals, one ordinary chairman of a local council, the amount of appropriation the guy steals will blow your mind.
Wow.
And the money seems not to finish. And it's not like we are dumb, we are not doing it. We are doing things, but it is a serious corrupt system that swallows anybody that stands up against it.
Yes.
Now, another cycle of election is coming. The people's choice is one Mr. Peter Obi, but we all know he's not going to get there. He won the 2023 election, but who is our president now? A convicted felon.
Yes.
A man who pocketed roughly more than $500,000 US to the United States government in the 80s to escape a drug conviction. He is our president. And we all know he's a very corrupt person. But who is helping him? The same pale faces that runs the world. But the point is that we refuse for them to come and take over the nation. And that's why they are using every subterranean move to make sure they mess up the country. The terrorism you hear about, all that, most of them are because of the fact that they are mining precious minerals in the northern province of Nigeria, especially in Meduguri, Zamfara states and other. They mine gold, they mine rare earth minerals. Nigeria is so blessed, like Africa is so blessed.
Yes, yes.
Some of these minerals, the people are not even aware that we have. So they are mining it and they're creating chaos, creating bloodshed, things everywhere, so that you don't question what they are doing. And they are doing it in collusion with some government officials.
Definitely.
So, my brethren, there's no way, there's no crack in the wall where you don't see lizards. At least being Africans, I expected my Zulu brothers and others to understand our ways, the ways of our forefathers and others, and now try to use the wisdom of the ancients to deal with these things. We all have it in our own different places. For instance, I am Igbo in Nigeria. We have our own issue. We are the ones that fought the popular Biafran war. I'm a Biafran. You get now. First and foremost, when I'm with my people, you first call me Biafran before you say Nigerian.
Yes.
So we are the warriors. We are the ones that fought it. So all those things, and that's the scare. It's not even a scare. It's still a very open wound. That's not healed. We are the most economically charged, the most this, that, and blah, blah, blah. But the point is that the other two major ethnic groups, because we have three, Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba. Hausa, Fulani is same, you know, the Yoruba and the Igbo. But because of the Igbos, they say entrepreneurial spirit and never say die attitude, and the fact that they always want to get it, you know, the rest of the country, especially this big two, decided that an Igbo person cannot be a president of Nigeria, and this has been on since after the end of the war. So the Mr. Peter Obi, who is arguably the most popular, the most respected, and most desirable presidential candidate, can't get there even after winning the elections massively. Because of what? Because it's Igbo. So because I am Igbo now, and Igbos are, when I say Igbo nation, you're talking about massive, you know, millions and millions and millions and millions of people. So because of that now, we now just go out now and start, you know, attacking and killing our brothers and, you know, that. Blessed love, my king. So Africa, for Africa to escape all those kind of man-made traps and obstacles, we just need to, you know, dig within ourselves and bring out that our Africanness that makes us one. Africans born at home and abroad, we are one and the same. All these artificial borders, you know what they are. yes, let's have the borders for administrative sake and all that, but then let's set the modalities that can help us do everything we want to do. How do you now achieve the after arrangement, the African free trade zone, blah blah blah, and all the other beautiful ideas that are coming from the AU, the ECOWAS, the regional blocks, and all that? How do you achieve that? If for instance, the other day in the same South Africa, the second richest man in Africa, who is also a Nigerian, Dr. Samab, the chairman of BUA, the one following Dangote, BUA, Samad, is the second richest man in Africa. He in South Africa was complaining, was telling them what happened to him in South Africa when he came into South Africa under a short notice for a meeting, not knowing that his visa expired a day before he came in. So when they landed, they checked it, they saw that his visa expired. This man has so many industries that are employing South Africans, thousands of South Africans in South Africa. I'm not talking about somebody coming to hustle them or do anything there. Of course, the Nigerians don't go there to do menial jobs. They know the ones that come there for that. Now, they refused Dr. Samad entry into South Africa for an important economic summit where the man had planned to invest a couple of hundreds of millions of dollars. That's different from the investment he already had there. Wow. Now, the man told them in that summit, as he was there, when they refused him to enter, of course, his men, his team all refused to go because that's the chairman, And he said as he was there, he saw another plane landed from whether UK or somewhere from Europe or America. And he said every pale face that came through the customs was just waved through. None of them had a single one-day visa.
Wow.
And he told them point blank there in South Africa, this was like last week or something. I think a one CEO forum. Okay, maybe South Africa will be in Kenya or something, or Rwanda, where the heads of states and all that were there. He told them, you see, and you want to grow. And you want my money, you want me to invest in your country, but look at what they did to me. Maybe who I am, with who I am.
Stick a pin.
And he told them, I can do that. And the man told them, the airport itself, he can build the airport and dash them free.
Yes, stick a pin.
With all the equipment there.
My brother, stick a pin. Our Honorable Queen Mother Moses has to make a step. I want to just give her a chance to say a final sound.
Bless the Lord.
Queen Mother Moses, I know you have to make a step. Just I want to give you a chance to sign off.
Yes, I had an event last night.
I can tell you that right now Botswana is winning the Wi-Fi battle because Jamaica Wi-Fi not standing up either. Queen Mother. Wow. Queen Mother Moses has to make a step. We're going to give Ras Culture also a chance, but they are touching some serious points, Honorable Mike Palm. And we need to have an episode just on what the eye is saying, because it's something that we have to work through this tribalism. You know what I mean? It's a cancer. We have an example in America, because in America, I can travel from Maryland to DC to Virginia. These were separate colonies, but now I can drive through without any problem. I don't have to stop at a checkpoint, a border, nothing. They all have different administration. You pay tax to different places in all of these regions, but the border is not an issue. So Africa can get there. You know what I mean? It's just there are models there. I know the EU is like that as well. So we just have to, we got to do the work, and it starts with education. I'm going to seal with the eye, Honorable Mike Palm. Ras Culture, can the eye just say a final word?
Yes, excellence. I give thanks. I really appreciate their platform, and I've learned a lot going through the conversation. Yes, for us in Sierra Leone, like Queen Mother said, agriculture is our first culture. We are into agriculture. We are into rice farming,
Okay.
and we have available lands to do agriculture. We
Okay.
have a lot of projects. For me as culture, I'm managing two agricultural projects.
Okay.
One is for the homeless, and the second one is for the single mothers in the northern part of Sierra Leone. That's Cambia district, and as well the southern part of Sierra Leone, that's Bo district. So we are into agriculture. We look forward to such kind of opportunity.
Yes.
And I want to commend the Lion Voice management for giving us the opportunity. We want to see this ongoing. We want to get our voice heard in different platforms. So I appreciate the opportunity, and we look forward to see how we can exploit. You know, for Sierra Leone, we are committed to the Pan-African movement. On Monday, we are going to observe the Pan-African Coalition, and tonight we are going to do our candle nights as gears towards the Pan-African Liberation Day. So I love the conversation. I appreciate my brothers from all over the continent. You know, having the voice of brother from South Africa, it's good. I hope he will learn from the advice from the brother from Nigeria so that we can work on it. We need that kind of collective, especially with the youth. Today, I wrote an article wherein I was trying to emphasize the space for young leaders. You know, now we don't need the issue of age. We don't need the issue of who come first, but we need who are capable. Those who are willing to sacrifice to move the Rastafari community to another world, who are ready to give the opportunity. So it's not about age. It's about who can willing to serve, who can willing to advocate for the rights, and then strategize ideas that can move forward Rastafari. So I give thanks. I appreciate everything. And I want to commend and appreciate the leadership of the Rastafari Council Sierra Leone, the leadership of the Ethiopia World Federation, the Pan-African Coalition Sierra Leone, the Exodus Movement Sierra Leone, and I want to salute the Lion Voice. Queen Mother Moses, give thanks to you for the opportunity. Blessed love.
Yeah. And Ras Culture will be forward next Saturday. We're asking for a panel of Sierra Leoneans next Saturday. So you will see Ras Culture again next Saturday. Honorable Mike Pam, you have the last word. Just seal us up with a final sound.
Yes, King Kwasi, blessed love, King. Yes, blessed love, my Lord, Sierra Leone, Ras Culture, Selassie, you know. My Lord, it's just for Africa to take its rightful place back again. Africans need to close ranks, you know. Yes, it's not going to be easy. Nobody ever said it's going to be easy. Nothing good comes easy. And with the man-made obstacles that are being steadily piled up by our transducers, it's not going to be easy. But it behoves us to make it work. Because if we don't make Africa work, who is going to make it work for us? Is it the ones who are just interested in our resources and everything we've got? In Nigeria, some of the best doctors you have abroad, even is surprised a former head of state of Nigeria when he was sick and he was taken to a very specialist hospital, and they told him one very specialist doctor will have to come. They waited 2 days for the doctor because the doctor was out of the country doing surgery in, I think in Germany or something. They were all waiting for the doctor to come. And when the guy came, a Nigerian. So when they saw the former head of state, he greeted in Nigerian parlance. The guy was like, "Oh, who are you?" Said, I'm so from so state in Nigeria. I left the country during your reign, during your tenure as president, because things were so bad, especially for doctors and blah blah. The man was speechless. So bad governance, the inability of African leaders to do the needful, the fact that we don't have enough Ibrahim Traores. We need more and more Ibrahim Traores in Africa.
Yes.
Because for me, that is the modern day Sankara. We need such ideologically driven leaders who first and foremost are dedicated to Africa, first and foremost, whose spirit, love, and sincerity and tenacity of purpose is wrapped around the African Renaissance, the African rising, Africa getting back to be the cradle of civilization that is both Africa, leading the world the way it should lead the world. They say Africa is the next frontier, the new front. Africa has always been the frontier. It's just the exploitation which is being aided and abetted by our own leaders. If only we have like a couple of, say, 2 Ibrahim Traores in West Africa, 2 of them in Southern Africa, 2 in East Africa, 2 in North Africa. Okay, forget North Africa. Let's talk about Sub-Saharan Africa. If we have such guys who will be dedicated enough to think country first, think mother continent first, then Africa can get back to its rightful place. But then guys like Ibrahim Traore are being they are being bombarded by leaders like my own president. Right now, they've left the regional bloc called ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. Burkina Faso left, I think Mali left, about 4 of them left, and they formed their own EAS. And that's Economic Association or something of Sahel states. But they are still in West Africa. So all those dichotomies are the things that are prevailing against Africa standing the way it should stand. Africa leading the world the way it should lead the world. We have everything. And the most beautiful of it all is that we don't have natural disasters like the rest of the world. Africa is so blessed. Forget about the economic downturn that we can get over. Look at the potentials. The other day, I was watching CNN where they were doing some analysis on Nigeria, and they were talking about the fact that in Nigeria alone, what you have is a massive youth population. They were trying to compare it with America and some other European countries, especially European countries where the population are mostly elderly. And I tell you what's going to happen in like 50 years to come. So that Africa is where it is at. But then our leaders are not seeing these things, because these are the things they need to see. You need to have that foresight, that kind of vision for you to be able to plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
But they're not planning. They're not planning.
They're taking the money. They're taking the money and building their own personal wealth. And that's
their own aggrandizement, selfish aggrandizement.
Yes.
And that's very sad, my friend.
I want to give thanks. I have to make a step as well. If you are available, I know it's way up in the hours, but if you are available on Wednesday, we're having a show on Nigeria. I have one of my good brothers here He's a real estate investor. He has property in Nigeria. He lives here in Washington, D.C., but he is very active in Nigeria. We're going to be reasoning with him about the rise of the African giant, what we need to do, with Nigeria and if you cannot watch it live, you can watch the replay, and I would love you to share it with your brethren and sisters in Nigeria. So join us this coming Wednesday, Dr. Kalechi Egwem. He is going to give us a master class in Nigerian history and just what's going on with Nigeria. This is going to be fascinating. This brother is also the executive director of our Pan-African Coalition here in Washington, D.C., the Leadership Council for Pan-African Nationalism, LC-PAN. So we want to just let the item know. Also, we want to big up the Conscious Reggae Concert, our latest sponsor to come on board. The Lion Voice Network will be promoting this. Look out, we're going to be creating a commercial for the Conscious Reggae Concert. This is going to be headlined by the Abyssinians. We're going to have the Abyssinians on the Lion Voice Network at some point. They have one of my favorite songs in life, which is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yes,
love it. Love the song.
And we're gonna have them on the Lion Voice. So stay tuned for that. Next Saturday, we also have Reading Ras on the Front Line with our elder Ras Tafari. The books of the month for African liberation are The Wise Mind of Haile Selassie I, Lessons for African People by Marcus Garvey, and Man's Higher Consciousness. So stay tuned as we bring you all of this content. Think about how you can support, how you can be active in African liberation. One way is to support the Lion Voice Network. We're looking for people to join our monthly subscribers, our Patreon. Consider becoming a member of our Patreon. The information is on the scroll below. We are building a mighty community, so be a part. We have our town hall meeting coming up on next Sunday as well. And part of that Sunday is not going to be recorded. We have a sister who's going to give a presentation of how to prepare for what's coming. This sister, who is part of our Lion Pride on Patreon, got access to some very critical information about what's coming due to this war in Iran. And it's not pretty. So we're not going to record it, but she's letting us know as the Lion Pride. So you don't want to miss these things. Join our inner circle and get the information so you can prepare for what is to come. And remember, I keep saying this is going to be a long war. And what is going to happen, what I think is going to happen, is that this war is going to drain a lot of resources from the West and from the Arab states. And this will give Africa a chance to rise, because we can't underestimate the power. The suppression that happened. Africa is being suppressed, its growth from outside powers. But when you remove that funding, it allows Africa to breathe and to rise. States like the UAE have been funding a lot of problems on the continent. Saudi Arabia, the G7 countries, they've been funding a lot of this terrorism that we see happening right now is being funded externally. So when this war, as it continues to grow, because it's going to expand, Iran said the next round of the war, they're going to take it outside of the Middle East. So for those who were doubting whether there's going to be a third world war, I've been saying it, but you're going to see it. And it's going to be dreadful, but at the same time, it's going to offer opportunities for Africa to rise, because they're going to have to divert some of the money that they're putting into the conflicts in Africa to their war in the Middle East and in Europe, because there's going to be a European war with Russia at the same time that this Middle East war is taking place. So that being said, I and I as Rastafari, as visionaries, as ones who deal with the prophecy, have to be prepared, and we have to be sovereign, because as the old order collapses, we have to create our own order, our own alternative. This is now the rising of Zion on earth, and we have to be the builders. So I really just give thanks for the Honorable Mike Pam. We're going to have the eye to come forward again. We're going to have all of the item forward on the platform. This is the premier global platform for the Rastafari and Pan-African community on the rise. So we're going to continue to give the item the voice of not only Africa, but of the entire diaspora. You know what I mean? We are going to bring that unity as much as we can, and we're going to do it with joyfulness. And we're not going to stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion Voice.
This is Ras Tafari. The time has come for the lions to tell their own story. See? This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir? Ras Tafari said that. Are you satisfied? Wipe those tears from your eyes. I'm all alone, still you thought I was telling a lie. This is the lion's voice. Keep it locked, right, sir?
Yes, people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
African pride, root of all nations, boy. I tried with the lion, the Ras Tafari. Lion of it tried with lioness like I do. Empress on the front line, we need you. Well, this is Medicine, the steady one, and you are now tuned in to the Lion's Voice Network. What the lion fought for do? Scorch them. Roast and parch them.
I will never stop, hail the Most High, and I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
The time has come for lions to tell our own story. Yes, you're listening to Lion's Voice. And I is Ras hailing from the island of St. Croix. Yeah, I'm bringing to your Rastafari vibes. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Babylon born when Rasta come together. Can you feel it? Rastafari. Because Babylon done when I and I come together. Look how we live together, look how we work together, Oh, Babylon done when Rasta come together. Haile, Rastafari, His Majesty and Empress men blessed. Yeah man, Haile from St. Croix, Rastafari, hear you. Aye.
Empress Manel, and I young scientist. Your role universally unfold. Be told, Blessed love, this is Itege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lion's voices to be heard. This is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use a yet an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the powers to chant. Jah give her the powers to chant. Rastafari, the lion's voice.
Fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega, representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to the lion voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice.